I came on today, one, because I believe in what this panel is doing, but more importantly, I need to appeal to this panel to help us save your lives, my life, and everybody's life. We are closer today than we have ever been, ever, in the history of the nuclear era. Since nuclear weapons were used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, we are closer today than ever for nuclear weapons being used again. We are literally at the threshold of a nuclear war. This isn't hyperbole. I'm not here to scare you. I don't give a damn what you think. You're going to die unless we do something to stop it. This is on full frickin' automatic. Russia has lowered its threshold for the use of nuclear weapons, including conditions it knows that NATO and the United States have already met. If Russia assiduously adhered to its nuclear doctrine, they would be able to use nuclear weapons today against NATO. They have opted not to, but we have already passed that threshold. At the same time, we have a Rear Admiral Buchanan in the United States Strategic Command who speaks glibly about the America ready to have a nuclear exchange with the Russians. Do you know what that means, a nuclear exchange? It means a nuclear war. We're ready to have one. Russia has lowered its nuclear threshold, and America is ready to engage in a nuclear exchange with Russia as we speak, right here, any moment. Right now, the United States and Europe are trying to figure out what to do after Russia responded to their foolish decision to allow Ukraine to use ATACMS missiles and Storm Shadows missiles to strike Russia. Russia has responded with a unique missile system, an intermediate range system, which we know very little about. But what we do know, or what we can speculate based upon past practice and what's going on, is this missile is special purpose built to take out targets of concern in NATO deployed in Europe. I believe this missile was developed on the orders of President Putin sometime this last summer to destroy the Dark Eagle missile complex that the United States is. It's a hypersonic intermediate range missile. The Mark 41, Aegis Ashore air defense system that was ostensibly built to deal with Iran, but we all know it was built to deal with Russia, and today NATO views it as a mainstay in their air defense against Russia. This system is designed to take that out. It's designed to take out command and control facilities, logistic facilities, from top to bottom, left to right, all of Europe, using non-nuclear payloads. But nonetheless, this would be a Russian strike against NATO. What Russia has demonstrated is that it is ready right now, as we speak, to strike any target in Europe if Europe gives them an excuse to do so. How will Europe respond? Article 5. According to Joe Biden, this is a sacred obligation. Many NATO nations have been leaning forward, waiting for an opportunity for Article 5 because they believed Russia was bluffing, but Russia isn't bluffing. Russia just proved it's not bluffing. And now how does NATO respond to this? Back down, retreat? Too much political capital has been invested. And there are still people in the White House, in the State Department, in NATO, who believe that Putin is bluffing. This was just an experimental system after all. It's not as though Russia really means to use this. Russia's not bluffing. And if we continue to call his bluff, call Putin's bluff, call Russia's bluff, there will be a nuclear war. And I'm very concerned that because we are in a very compressed timeline, we have the Biden administration together with their NATO allies admitting that they're seeking to Trump-proof NATO, Trump-proof Ukraine, Trump-proof this policy of the strategic defeat of Russia, so that by the time Donald Trump is sworn in as president on January 20th, he will not be able to change any of this. That means that there's a compressed timeline between now and January 20th to get all of this in place, and they can't afford delays, they can't afford pauses, they can't afford doubt. And my concern is they are going to aggressively move forward, forcing Russia's hand. And then we're going to have Admiral Buchanan's little nuclear exchange. But there's no such thing as a little nuclear exchange. There's no such thing as limited nuclear war. Once the nuclear weapons start flying, read Andy Jacobson's book, Nuclear War: A Scenario. It quickly spins out of control. 72 minutes after the first nuclear device explodes, we are all dead. That's where we're at. Now, what are we going to do about it? I mean, we can have conferences, etc. I think we only have one chance. at stopping this nuclear war. And that is to get the president-elect to become actively engaged in calling out the Biden administration and speaking to the American people. Regardless of where you stand on the election that took place on November 5th, there was a winner. And that winner is Donald Trump. And Donald Trump has articulated a policy that seeks to end the conflict in Ukraine and prevent a nuclear war in Russia. If you don't believe me, refer to the article published on The Hill magazine, authored by RFK Jr. and Don Trump Jr., two people who are on the inside of the Trump team. They wouldn't have published this article without the permission and concurrence of Donald Trump. We know this is Trump's position. The American people endorsed this position when they gave him the mandate to govern. And yet now the Biden administration is operating in a way that directly contravenes this, seeks to disrupt this, seeks to make it impossible, and in doing so pushes us to the brink of a nuclear Armageddon. How can we get him involved? How we can make our voices heard? The old-fashioned way. Shout it out from the top of our voices in Washington, D.C. And what I'm asking is that everybody join me in Washington, D.C. on December 7th. I've reached out to Jose Vega. I've reached out to others. Jose has reached out. We're beginning to put together a team that's going to make this possible. December 7th, 2 weeks, we can save the world, save our life, save your life by making our voices heard. If we make it to that, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee that we're going to make it to December 7th. And I'm not being facetious. One stupid error and it's all over. The war begins and we all die. But just in case we do make it past Thanksgiving, in case we do enjoy that turkey dinner, we can gather in Washington, D.C. at the Lincoln Memorial and then march to Congress and then march to the White House and make our voices heard. That we are going to say no to nuclear war. And that's a hashtag that I want everybody to start trending. Hashtag say no to nuclear war. Get on social media and make this happen. This is it. I don't know what else you're going to do because you're going to die if you don't do this. If we don't find a way to make our voices heard, to let the Biden administration know that this is not acceptable. This is not how we do business. This is not what we, the people, want. That they will continue to pursue these policies to the detriment of everybody. And that's really all I wanted to say is keep an eye on this space as we develop this mission. This is the mission of a lifetime. This is the battle of our lives. If we lose this, we all die, literally. We all will die. We are so close to nuclear conflict, it's not funny. When you have a senior officer in Strategic Command saying openly that we are ready to engage in a nuclear exchange with Russia, do you understand what he is saying? Do you understand that a nuclear exchange means hundreds of millions of dead people? 100 million dead Americans, minimum. And they're ready to do it right now. If you're not angry, if you're not scared, you're not human. They are ready to go to nuclear war right now. We need to stop it.